My name is Philp Glist, and the story I'm going to be reading is called The Two Tigers. When I was 12, my mom worked as a teacher's aide in a third grade class in Lincoln, Massachusetts. Every house in Lincoln had at least an acre of land. Most houses had even more. Her school, Lincoln Elementary, was a good public school, but these were the days before well-off people stressed too much over their children's elementary school educations. My mom wasn't an educator. This was just a job she could do while the four of us were in school in the next town over, where the houses were closer together. She really liked the teacher she worked for, a man named Jeff. And one day, Jeff's cat had kittens. He asked my mom if she wanted one, probably figuring she'd say no. It would have been so easy to say no. Most people would say no to the offer of a spontaneous offer of a cat, even a free one. You just say you have allergies, or you don't want your furniture wrecked, or you hate cat hair, or in my mom's case, that you already have 4 children. Taking a kitten is a lot to ask. My mom had never even had a cat or a dog, and all we'd ever had at home were fish and gerbils, and those not for very long. We kept the gerbils in an old fish tank, and one day they had a litter of babies. We found them all huddled together on the wood chips in the corner of their tank. The babies were all tiny, pink, and squiggly, and the day after they were born, they were gone, eaten by their mom or dad, or both. I doubt Jeff was even persistent about the kitten. He probably never imagined my mom would take one, but the word no just wasn't in my mom's vocabulary. She knew my dad would never agree to a cat, though, so she came up with a plan. She came home from grocery shopping one night and told my dad, "Hey, Si, they're having a contest down at the Star Market, a cat naming contest. If you win, you get a cat." "What do I want with a cat?" my dad said. He definitely never had any pets growing up as an only child in Brooklyn. His parents, Jaime and Pauline, weren't the pet types. They were the kind of people who in the old country ate domestic animals to keep from starving. But my mom kept insisting. "Leave me alone, I don't want a cat," my dad said, and went back to his New Yorker. My mom let it go for a day or two. Then she started in again. "It's the last day before they pick a winner in the cat naming contest. Do you want to try? You should enter." "I don't want a cat. Come on." My mom said, "It's fun, just think of a name." Finally, to shut her up, my dad said, "Okay, Tiger. Okay, Tiger." "That's a great name," my mom said. My dad went back to reading and ignoring all of it. The next night, my dad arrived home from work to find a kitten, a little short-haired cat. "You're not going to believe it," my mom said. When me and my brother heard this, we looked at each other as if to say, "There's no way this one's going to work." That would be the stupidest plan ever. My dad was delighted. He did not entertain a minute, even a second of doubt. He could not have been prouder. For months, when anyone came to the house, whether they admired the kitten or not, he'd point to it and say, "See that cat? That's a prize-winning cat. I hate that cat. His name is Tiger." None of us was going to be the one to tell my dad the truth. Lying wasn't as hard as you might think, even when we were little. My mom had taught us all to lie to my dad about pretty much everything. A few months later, my mom brought another kitten home from work. Jeff's cat, another litter. My dad stared at the new cat for a few seconds. "Another cat naming contest?" he finally said. "Oh, there was no cat naming contest," my mom said. "Jeff's cat keeps having kittens." We all waited for the explosion, but it never came. If my dad was disappointed or mad, he didn't show it. I wonder what changed in their relationship between the time my mom went to such great lengths to fool my dad and the time she just said, "The hell with it," and brought home another cat. Maybe that was when everything changed for my dad. Right in that instant, the very moment he realized he hadn't won anything at all. My dad ignored the cats completely, even his beloved Tiger, whose name we soon changed to something else, something less embarrassing. The cats didn't care. They had each other now. Best friends for years, till they each died untimely suburban cat deaths. My parents stayed together a lot longer, but much less happily. One summer morning, years after the cats, I was passing by the upstairs bathroom when I heard my dad say something. I wasn't sure if he was talking to me, so I walked closer. In the instant it took me to realize he was talking to himself, not me, I stopped. He couldn't see me as I watched him through the open bathroom door. Leaving open the bathroom door is something every male in my family does, so clearly it's hereditary. I stood there and watched as my dad studied his freshly shaved face in the mirror and said to himself, "Grr, Tiger, you're going to have a great day." I backed up and snuck off without him ever knowing I was there. I told him about it later and he laughed it off. I don't know if my father was a very happy man, but he was a very hard man to embarrass.